Hey everybody, welcome to Narrative Live. I'm Zev Shalev. Tracy McElroy's in Baltimore. Hey Tracy, how are you?
Hi Zev, great to see you. I'm doing well.
It's good to see you too. So we have a really interesting show today. A couple of weeks ago, we did a show about Facebook called Democracy Has a Facebook Problem. Now since then, a lot has happened. So we're updating that story on tonight's Narrative Live.
Yes, in the past few days, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook have been back in the news. I want to point out to everybody, Zev, that you were one of the first journalists to start connecting the dots and exposing how Donald Trump, he used social media to win in 2016. And you started it in a series of posts on your narrative.org blog site. In fact, that's how we met. I was reading some of your earliest blog posts and thought, I need to hook up with this guy and I need to help him figure this out. What can I do? We could be a great team. And here we are.
Indeed. And we are a terrific team because you really helped us sharpen all the reporting. And since then, we've been calling on Facebook and social media to be regulated, especially the role Facebook plays in disrupting democracy. And that's why what happened this week is actually very significant.
Yeah, this week, Mark Zuckerberg, he published an op-ed, and it was in the Washington Post, calling for government regulation for Facebook in 4 areas. Those areas included harmful content, election integrity, privacy and data protection, and data portability.
So I'd like to be the first to say, welcome aboard, Mark Zuckerberg. It's a party you started. It's a party we hope we'll end together. But we're really thrilled that finally there's an acknowledgement that something needs to be done about regulating Facebook. But also, if we're going to be completely honest, none of Mark's recommendations about Facebook have any hope of becoming a reality. Not by 2020, not within the current framework that we have in Congress, not quickly, not before 2020. It's just not going to happen. So we already have an election underway. It's up to you, Mark, to fix things.
Yeah, and right now, Zev, it appears to me that Facebook is an actual threat to democracy.
You are right, I think.
Let's take a look at Trump's year-to-date social ad spending. He is at $5.9 million, wow. And that's Facebook and Google spending. We are already way behind the curve on the 2020 campaign trail. It's crazy.
It is crazy that so much money is being spent. Remember, he spent $95 million in his campaign in 2016. He's already spent $6 million. It's not even a year out yet. He is going to spend even more. Democrats are nowhere on this field. They don't trust Facebook, and they don't have the infrastructure to really take advantage of Facebook, like all that data stolen from Cambridge Analytica. So, Mark, there you are. When you started, you said you're going to move fast and break things. Well, now we're asking you to move fast and fix things. There are a few things Facebook can do today that will go a long way to restoring voters' rights and encourage a fair election in 2020 that we could all believe in.
Zev, after 2 years of studying this, you are posting an open letter or an open thread on Twitter, if you'd like, to Mark Zuckerberg on what that Facebook CEO can do without waiting for the government regulation. You have some really great ideas, so let's talk about them.
Thank you so much, Tracy. But the reality of it is these ideas have been suggested by other people. It's just time for Mark to acknowledge that these should happen. Here's my first, and the first is an equal access rule. Imagine if for every campaign ad taken out by one party, one candidate, or a PAC, Facebook would give the opposing party, campaign, or PAC equal space to post their advertising and equal access to the same user. That way, if I'm being indoctrinated by a bunch of ads from one party based on my fears, I'd immediately get the alternative point of view from the other party. Seems to me like a pretty good idea. Now, he'll lose some money, but everyone will get both sides of the story.
It's a great idea is what it is, because Facebook is so good at data. They could literally ensure that every targeted user got a balanced ad from both parties.
Absolutely. So, they could really turn everything around.
You also say Facebook, and I happen to agree, is not doing enough to stop hate speech.
Yeah, last week or so, they came up with a new policy saying that they would be banning white nationalism, white supremacism, or whatever it is, and that kind of speech on Facebook. And it sounds pretty good. I mean, it sounds good to me.
It sounds really good. Only we did a little experiment and we found a way that white nationalists can still be targeted on Facebook.
You're 100% correct, because you know the guy Pepe the Frog. He's not big in our circles,
I do.
but if you check out 4chan or 8chan or whatever chans there are in the world, you'll encounter this guy Pepe the Frog. He's a symbol of white supremacism, I guess, and he's a cute little frog, as you can tell. He's often got very cryy eyes, but he's used as a symbol for white nationalism. And even though you can't place an ad on Facebook today targeting Pepe the Frog and people who like Pepe the Frog, you can, believe it or not, target political conservatives in the United States who also like Pepe and who also like Frog, which basically is the same thing as saying search your entire database for conservatives who like Pepe the Frog. This to me was kind of fascinating. I had not thought about this before or seen it before.
Fascinating and quite disturbing, Zev. If we look at the bottom of this, how big was the audience that you could reach with that experiment?
Yeah, I mean, it's a stunning figure. 30 million people showed up in the audience as defined by Facebook. These are political conservatives who like Pepe and who like Frog. Now, it might be that they're like Senor Pepe or some other Pepe and not just Pepe the Frog. But I'm going to assume
they may like Kermit Frog. You never know.
Who knows?
They like frogs and they like Pepe. So.
And they're conservatives, which would mean maybe it's an accurate reflection of the 30 million people who might be 4channing or 8channing or whatever goes on those alt-right forums. That's a large number of people who will be voting in 2020.
Yes, it's disturbing. But you know what else is really, really disturbing to me?
What is disturbing to you?
Fake news. And I want to know what Facebook can do about stopping the fake news.
Indeed. Fake news is probably the biggest challenge we face as an electorate, because now, every voter is accessible to people who want to tell you anything based on your fears. They know what you're scared of. They know what your hopes are. And they're going to send you stories that appeal or who trigger you into a reaction. And for newsrooms or traditional newsrooms, I've spent most of my life in them, do not report fake news. Their mission is to tell you the truth, not the fake news. So even if they find out a story is fake, they generally don't tell people. They just sort of spike it and move on. And that's where the problem is. No one is telling the public what's true and what's fake. So my suggestion is to turn that whole notion upside down and start telling people what people find is true and what is fake. So if something is a fake news story and someone figures out that it's a fake news story, go ahead and tell people. So we all know in one place what the truth is and what the facts are when we're heading into an important election like we are this year.
So you're challenging Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook. Let's do this. Let's track the fake news and let's let people know what is fake and what is real.
Absolutely. And it doesn't take that much to do it. I mean, you do have to call up, you do have to do some work and figure out if events happened as the stories say they happened, but it doesn't take that much work. Once you've verified a story, you can score a story on whether it's true or not, and then share it with the audience. Let people know whether they're seeing something that is true or not. And then with your Facebook, how cool is this? You can actually remove those stories from the algorithm completely. So you can extinguish a story. You can say, this story is fake. It's not going to get any air on our platform.
You had written a white paper for a broadcaster a while back, and it was called Democracy Under Fire. And I think that's where you found that this was a big takeaway of what can help with getting rid of the fake news.
Yeah, with Democracy Under Fire, we decided to propose something called a fake news tracker, which is basically what I just described, sort of a single brand where you'll be able to find out what's fake and what's not fake. And the idea came from a lot of studying of what the Europeans were doing to combat fake news and in other parts of the world, where they said just telling people what's true or fake is really, really important. And people sometimes forget that that's a big thing, that public utilities like Facebook or newsrooms should be providing that service.
So we are challenging you, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. Let's make some changes. But I also want to
wait for Congress.
Exactly. And I also want to talk a little bit about funding, Zev, because that's a huge deal. And Facebook has become a really important fundraising tool for candidates. But 9 times out of 10, we don't know where that money is coming from. Like, for instance, Bernie Sanders, he just raised $18.1 million in the first quarter. Now, that was not entirely through Facebook, but it's still, we need to ask the question, who are these people and where did this money come from?
This is the fourth big thing that we think Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook can do today, and it does not require any sort of regulation or any sort of word from the Congress. Because Facebook is a massive fundraiser in politics, because a lot of the money that Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, and others make comes off those ads you see on Facebook that solicit donations. You know, you get a little clip of Donald Trump, and then you get a please donate here button. Facebook knows who's pressing that button. Facebook knows if there's something weird going on with the person pressing that button. Let's say, you know, I don't know, they don't live in the United States. They can tell if that person doesn't live in the United States. So why would they be donating to Donald Trump?
But the money isn't coming through Facebook itself. Are you saying they should take in and audit all donations?
I think that would that wouldn't really work, because at the end of the day, while it would be great to have a central money pot that we can keep auditing, I don't know if anyone wants to trust Mark Zuckerberg with all the election funding that's going on in the world, not after what he's done. So this is not that. This is about keeping an eye out for users who might be using the system in an irregular way. Like if you're not living in the United States, but you want to support an American politician, that should raise a flag. If you're clicking on a donation button every day and donating money every day, maybe that should raise a flag. If you're paying in rubles, flag. You see, and you do a bunch of those things, you'll figure out soon enough whether some people are not playing the game as they should, and maybe using Facebook and these other donation sites to influence American politics in a way that they shouldn't have a right to.
Yes. In fact, I think we were watching the congressional hearings, and someone, when they were questioning Mark Zuckerberg, even mentioned, you know, dude, you didn't notice that they were paying in rubles? I mean, come on now.
I remember. I mean, really. But, you know, Mark likes rubles. Rubles are fine. He's taken enough of
it
them
all
in his
spends
life.
the same at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. And, you know, back then he wouldn't have known, neither would any of us, that Russia was interfering to the extent that they were.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, this list is fantastic, Zev. So let's go on. Let's talk about what is your number 5 for Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook.
Number 5 is come clean. Zuckerberg should really come clean on what we all sort of know, but he's never admitted, is what Russian funding did he get in the years prior to 2016? There's billions, maybe even billions of dollars that were sloshing around his vault there in Palo Alto. So how much exactly was there, and what was he doing with it? A lot of the money came from Digital Sky Technologies or other Kremlin-linked entities. You know, in the Paradise Papers, we learned that a lot of money came from Russia, directly from the Kremlin, into DST and then into Facebook. He may not have known there was Kremlin money. He may have believed it was Digital Sky Technologies, but he should tell us what he knows. And what did he do in exchange for that money? I mean, we all know that there's a Facebook in Russia called VK. Did he provide the code for VK? Because it looks and feels so similar to Facebook. And if he provided that code to VK, is it possible that he actually gave the Russians the keys to Facebook so they could figure out how to hack 2016? It's those kind of details that he's not ever come forward and explained to people. And it's those kind of details that I always go, I wonder if you can trust Mark. So I think if he cleared all the air around that, no matter what the truth is, would be more comfortable with his role as Mr. Election Monitor, as he's determining himself to be.
Yeah, what's been really strange to me when I think about this, and we've talked about this, is what did the Russians get in return? I mean, they put in all this money, they invested all of this money into Facebook, and they didn't even want a seat on Facebook's board. That seems a little strange to me. So I think you questioning having him come clean is really important. Let's just air it out and get it out there.
It's super important. You know, at the end of the day, he has a lot of our trust. We got a lot of our trust because we gave it to him as a young entrepreneur. He you know, we had faith in this guy. We bought the story. It's time for him to return that loyalty and that faith to the American people and actually state very clearly what has happened. No more hiding, no more obscuring, no more any of this stuff, waiting for regulations. Just tell us what the story was. Tell us about Russian involvement. Tell us why there's an investigation into Facebook right now. Why is this stuff happening to Facebook? It's not because they were squeaky clean and innocent. Something went horribly wrong. And we want to hear from you, Mark. We want to know what it is that happened.
Yes, and your sixth thing goes also a little bit further. You talk about banning groups, and so what kind of groups are you talking about, and what can they do on Facebook? How can they determine what groups to ban and what not, and who not to?
Well, I'm always surprised, Tracy, because we've done this for a long time. There's still, the Internet Research Agency can still publish ads from their IP on Facebook. I mean, these guys were involved in wholesale propaganda to the American people, targeted at people's fears, and they still can do it. That's not right. That needs to stop. The IRA and the IP address, they're based in St. Petersburg. We know which IP addresses they come from. We can ban them. We don't have to let them advertise on Facebook anymore. Cambridge Analytica, which we've all been told is taken off Facebook. It's not true. Their ads are still on Facebook. Why are they on Facebook? And finally, there's this new bogeyman out there called Emerdata. And, this is Wendy Siegelman's reporting that you point to, Tracy. Emerdata is basically Cambridge Analytica, only now it's Cambridge Analytica owned by the Chinese. And we certainly know there's a lot of interest in spying on Americans and influencing America about China. Are they doing it through Emerdata? So let's ban Emerdata from there as well.
Wow. I mean, this list is overwhelming. It feels like Facebook is the weak link in our democracy right now, just Seb.
It does feel like they have a lot that they could do that would improve the lot of everybody. If they took some of these steps, we'd all believe them a lot more about what's going on. Now, Zuck gave the entire world a way to connect, and that's an amazing thing. He also gave the entire world a way to influence our electorate. So, Mark, you can call for regulations all you like, but you made moving quickly your motto, and we all know Congress doesn't do that. So you need to do more to regulate yourself so we ensure a 2020 election that's free and fair.
That reminds me of a really great saying, and that saying is, with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, yeah. You wonder who said that. Oh, yeah, it's Uncle Ben. How can we forget?
Spider-Man.
Good. Who knew Spider-Man had so many great quotes? But it's true. At the end of the day, Mark is the king of Facebook. He can do whatever he wants there. And yeah, he'll lose some revenue because of all of this. No doubt if he gives equal advertising to all the parties, he won't make as much money off either parties. But on the other hand, it's a small price to pay because he'll be saving democracy and also his legacy, which has been tarnished up until now.
Yeah, and rest assured, you guys, that we will be following Mark Zuckerberg and his journey on making sure that Facebook isn't a problem for our democracy and that we are restoring the real news and election integrity. And we will be reporting every step of the way at Narrative, monitoring Mark's progress. We've been on the front lines since 2017. We've been reporting on Facebook and the elections and Cambridge Analytica, and we're not going to stop, but we need your help. You can subscribe or you can do a one-time donation, but we can't do it without you. So just go to primosocial.com/NarativLive. Thank you for watching.
Yes, thanks very much for watching, everyone, and please donate at primosocial.com. Goodbye. Good night.